From the time I worked in LSK, from the time I worked in vetting board, I have never been biased. Even in Kenya, I discharge my duties professionally, and I want to believe at any time, at any point in time, each and everyone here must have interacted with a party. But when you are dealing, if I find favor, the client is Kenya, and Kenya comes first, and you have to discharge your duties according to the law and the written solution, because you owe, I personally owe a duty to Kenya, and I'm accountable to Kenyans at large. Of course, through Iebc. Iebc is the one which will be supervising me. The question of Honorable Farah, elections, what ails us? I've been in political party, and I actually conducted election nominations, Jubilee Party nominations, and that is 2017. From the time we did the elections, we went to the Jubilee Party tribunal. That is because you must clear the internal mechanism first of all before going to PPDT, all the way to Supreme Court. Actually, at the end of the day in 2017, I saw 247 affidavits, including the petition in Supreme Court. My affidavits were 5. And what ails us as Kenyans, I think, in my own honest opinion, it's perception. We don't accept laws. It is very difficult for, at the end of the day, there has to be a winner and a loser. From the time, even when you are studying from the political party, even when somebody loses there, does not accept defeat, and they will even jump ship, go independent, and what have you. So it is perception, and we really need to deal with issue of perception, and we do a lot of civic education and stakeholder building, and this one, even the parties themselves can help us by informing their candidates that at the end of the day, even if we are 5, one will win, not all of them, because the slot is only 1. And when somebody loses, goes back to their supporters and tell them to libiwa, which sometimes, honestly, when you go through them, it is not a question of kuibiwa. And if we do civil education, educate Kenyans and tell Kenyans, please, if your person or supporter loses, even if they normally bind themselves that they are going to support the winner, we need to effect it. I don't know how, but we're almost there, but we need also to go further.
Kuanga kuimbiwa. Is it a reality that sometimes the results may not be as good as they should be? That there is an element of cheating and fraud? Is it common, or does it happen once in a while?
Let me talk from the experience that I did personally at hand at the Jubilee Party. If you do proper nominations and do proper civic education, and each and every person, because you know, as a candidate, you have even your agents, and you train even your agents on how they are going even to guard your elections. Sometimes hakuna kuibiwa. It might be perception. That is me. And as an umpire, you will stand there and supervise them. And even give an example. When we were doing the Jubilee Party election in 2017, there was this member of the county assembly who definitely had lost. And when we were doing the appeals tribunal, he comes to me when I was in my office and gives me his Form 34A. According to him, I need to give him certificate because he had lost, he had won, yet I've given certificate to the other person. When I look at the Form 34A, it had been, they add a 0, somebody adds a 0. You know, when you add a 0, it makes a total difference. And even that time, at gunpoint, he gave me, it was 2 a.m., and he brought, and he told me, you know, these ones, they are not toys, they are guns. You give me a certificate or not, but there's always God. Something, when you're doing something, somebody comes in.
Mary, Chairman, just to ride on that question, Mary Karen, are you saying there are no instances of election irregularities in Kenya?
what I've said, thank you, Council, thank you, Honorable Mheshimiwa. I've said I'm giving my experience. I'm not talking outside there. They may be there or there, but I'm talking about my experience. When I say about my experience, I'm not ruling out outside, because there are allegations, but have those allegations been proved? And that is why there is always the court to verify. And whenever I want to believe if there was malpractice, the courts will always nullify and you go back to election.
Just through the chair again, just on that point, have you not had instances of the courts saying the elections are not free and fair, there was ballot stuffing, there was bribery, there was voter manipulation? Are those not irregularities?
Yeah, before she answers, let me also give a bite there. Is it not a presidential election of a Jubilee candidate that has ever been nullified in this country by the courts? So how can she say that the irregularities are out there? Because that is on record in this country.
Right. Just respond to that in your opinion.
I have said whenever the irregularities, the court nullified. That was my answer. Meaning, when there is irregularities, that is why we have to court. And even the Jubilee Party election was nullified because the court found that there were irregularities and it was nullified. Even we've had not one instances, even for the Member of Parliament, MCAs, in which personally I've litigated using my affidavits. And they're nullified and we agree and we move on. So it exists.
Here comes the mischief now that if the nominee was associated with the Jubilee Party election that ended up being nullified by court, what confidence does she bring to the Iebc that is being constituted now that will not culminate in the same fiasco that the court had to pronounce as it did?
All right. That I don't know whether nullification was on the part of Jubilee or Iebc, but yes, I leave you to answer that. Farah.
Chair, a rider on that. When the lady, the candidate, is extremely candid, she says, my experience. And that basically refers only to the elections that she took part in. But having said that, Madam Sorobit, election riggings have happened in the past at the national level, at many other constituencies. I'm actually impressed and glad that whatever you conducted yourself as always. And that is usually proved by or demonstrated when somebody jumps ship and becomes independent and wins with a landslide, which means that the previous election itself, or the nomination elections, was basically flawed. But I also understand that anywhere else, party elections are very private matters. My belief on that is very different from what generally happens in the country, where people go to litigations on party matters. Party is a private organization, and if the leadership of that party decides on somebody who's going to be a loser, that party loses at the end of the day and does not ascend to power. So, but having now had your own experience, which I want to believe that was very, very good, and the passion with which you speak with, I'm convinced that you did a lot of very fair, free, and credible elections. How do you intend to cascade that into the national elections? Because the national elections, where different parties were running for the presidency, and even at the parliamentary levels, for the longest, have never been free of rigging and manipulations. Thank you.
Yes, you may take those ones in conclusion so that we do the final bit.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of the Jubilee election, which was nullified, if you read that ruling, there were several other issues not part of the party, and it does not personally affect me, and I was not even mentioned as a party. The irregularities were wide, and even several recommendations were given, and most of them, I think, was on the part of Iebc, not Jubilee Party. Thank you, Honorable Farah. In Iebc, When I reach there with my expertise, I intend to, first and foremost, I think even we need to start with the proposal on the audit of the last elections. It will tell us where we are, what went wrong, and how we can improve. Because when you do that one, you'll be able now to know clearly where we are going. And I promise, if cleared by this committee, I'll be a neutral umpire, and I intend to do my best to deliver credible elections to this Kenya. So when you do that audit election and you see what needs to be improved, that's the first and foremost. Second, then again, we need to build consensus and do a lot of civic education to inform Kenyans. And also, I think if I'm successful, we also need to start by from the boardroom and requesting the chairman to do the gazettement so that we do voter registration, because it ought to be continuous, because that is also another way of securing Kenyan rights, because we have a lot of even like the young people who need to also to register as part of election. So those are the things. So that's another thing I'm bringing on my expertise. Even on issue of delimitation of boundaries, we're already too late. And I've not been asked, but on my take, I also think that's an expertise I want to bring. In my own view, we are late. Should have been done by 24th of March this year. I think we need, through this committee, to do parliamentary process and amend Article 89 to allow to allow enlargement of time so that we can do voter registration. So those are some of the things I'm looking at.
Karemba, you're the last one, please.
Now that she has mentioned that we have very many young people who are not yet registered so as to participate in their constitutional right, can the nominee explain to this committee how you are going to convince the young people to rally behind you, yet they are not going to be represented in the commission, and you know too well that in this country we have now the highest population being that of the very young. How are you going to onboard the young people, given that even in the list of the nominees we do not have a young person representing them?
Yeah, not only young persons with disability. How are we going to look to the world when young persons are not in the commission, as well as persons with disability?
All right, you may give your opinion regarding that. Young persons includes people of how many years? 35 and below. All right.
Thank you, Chair. My take would be this. Trust is not something that given. It is built with time. And also it's the way you conduct yourself or discharge your duties is when you can win people's trust. When I reach there, if I'm successful, you need to build trust of the young people and see actually that I do matter and represent them. Come up with programs that it will entail them with the young people. When you're making any decision, include them, the young people. Although sometimes it might be difficult to now get, because they need also to have a structured way of engaging the young people. Maybe like in the political parties, they normally have the youth wing. So maybe you can have something like a caucus or that you use to engage the youth, so that you have structured them of way of engaging or dealing with the youth, so that when you're making any decision, do stakeholders engagement with them. But again, when you're doing stakeholders engagement, let's have a structured way of engaging these youth, so that you work with them, you onboard them. At the end of the day, even the policies that you're going to make, at the end of the day, they will see that that you are with them, and that is how you can build trust, because trust is built with time. I cannot say today I'm going to build trust today, you entrust me, but it's my actions which are going to show that actually I am carrying with them. PWD, also the same thing. We also need to do programs with them and engage them. They also have a caucus, but again, I think affirmative action. We also need to do affirmative action. The parties also need so much to reach out to them. But this is now me, the way I've been seeing. Maybe in distant future, we may need to give them seats where they'll contest for themselves, the way we now have for the women country rep. Are we going to reduce the number of nominated so that we can give them? I don't know. You know, that is something in future, so that they can contest on their own. That is, I'm saying, that is my own.
That's your own view, because we have the Constitution that also makes provisions,
yes,
and especially through nominations. Now, the last questions are as follows. Number one, tell us whether you've been convicted of any offense, criminal offense in the past.
Chair and members of the panel.
What about Chapter 6 of the Constitution? Have you been held to be in breach of that particular chapter of our Constitution in any event, in any action?
Not at all, Chair.
Good. Do you have any conflict of interest between yourself, your dealings, your families, relatives with Iebc, which you can point out now?
Yeah, none. And if I'm successful and it should arise, it is upon me to declare.
You will declare and deal with it in accordance with the law.
Constitution.
Good. Do you do any pro bono works in the country?
I do through the church, through my church,
you do
the
through your church,
AIC money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We do, especially for widows and children, in which I am a secretary to one of the committees which do a lot of welfare and the promotion. We look at them.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Now, finally, what is your net worth?
My family net worth is 80 million. As I declare. 80.
80. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes.
Right, what does it comprise of?
It's assets, family assets, the houses and land, and also land in Eldoret, the matrimonial home, cars, and the vehicles.
Your matrimonial home is in Nairobi or in Eldoret?
I have a home in Nairobi and in Eldoret.
And all of them are valued at 80 million?
The one in Eldoret is, the value in Eldoret is low. Yeah, the one. I think for Nairobi should be 30-something million.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's the other difference.
We need to know this, because soon after that, possibly it's going to get enhanced in a manner that will be suspicious, and we shall be putting you to question. All right, do you expect any income, any other income in the near future from any other source? No.
You don't have any cows back at home, even if they're the traditional, long-horned ones. No, the same way Nyamira always talks of Nyamira. For me, when it comes to pastorals, cows are always there.
Yes.
So if you have cows there, you better declare them, so that in future when you take them to the market, nobody will claim that you took this money from Iebc.
And what name suggests what? Which name suggests about cows? You said as your name suggests.
Sorobit is a cow. You don't know.
In their language?
Yeah. In our language.
All right. Absolutely.
I have cows, they're like 5, but not because my land is small. And that is why you get the values kidogo.
Right, we've had you. Okay.
That question, very current, you are not practicing.
I do practice, but as an associate now, from the time I've been in corporate for long.
And you are not expecting any income out of practice?
As an associate, when you leave, you leave. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, it's just a small possible salary for 1 or 2 months. That's the end of it. But, all right. All right, associate. Thank you. Mary Karen, thank you so much. I think we will close at this. Do you have anything else to ask this committee to do for you? What is your prayer to us now? How do we deal with you?
Thank you, Chair. My plea is that you find me favorable, but I leave that to the commission, to the committee, and I promise to discharge my duties independently the way I've been working, from all the way my track record from LSK, even changing the election of LSK from the ballot to the current one. You know, it was me. I'm the one who did it. From the one who used to carry the letters, you know, the current letters. So I promise to continue working the way I've been working. And one last thing, this committee is doing a lot of work. Thank you. very good work for Kenya. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you very much. We extend the same blessings to you. We will make a decision, take it to the House, and the House will decide whether to approve or not approve you. But we have heard you to the fullest. Thank you very much. You are discharged.
Thank you very much.
Give Mary Karen our documents, original documents. Make sure nothing is left behind so that we are not accused of having hoarded our documents to our detriment. Honorable members, we will have a short break of 45 minutes. 2:45, we have to be back. 2:45 o'clock. Good, take 30 minutes. Okay, 3 o'clock. Let's say 3 o'clock so that we deal with the remaining 3. Very good. Secretariat.
My name is Peter Chamweno. I'm Director of Departmental Committees, and with me are members of the staff for the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and they consist of legal counsel, committee clerks, research officers, and other administrative officers. Thank you.
We have a new member who has joined us. Please introduce yourself, Zuleika.
My name is Zuleika Harun, nominated member and a member of the Jailer Committee.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Hassan, we will proceed as follows. Number one, we will give you an oath in accordance with your religious faith. Then you show us the originals of your documents. Then after that, We will give you 10 minutes to introduce yourself and give us a brief background of your life, your qualifications, etc. Then after that, these members will field questions regarding your suitability and the process. We intend to engage you for not more than an hour, slightly less than an hour, and when the time comes, please answer your questions briefly and precisely so that we do not prolong this unnecessarily. So as we have the Quran ready and the oath, Vice Chairman has come, he will have to introduce himself.
Chairman, nominee, my name is Mwengi Mutuse. I'm the Member of Parliament for Kibwezi West and I'm also the Vice Chair of this committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms.
Order.
Yes,
We appear not to have information about this. We appear not to have information about this candidate.
Where are the books? Oh, sorry that the books were not distributed in time. But Honorable Farah took for himself the book and he is looking at it happily, alone. Okay. Still, that's not enough, but it's okay. We will share what we have if they are not enough. Very good. Sergeant at Arms and Minister of Youth.
I, Hassan Nur Hassan, do swear that the information I shall give before the committee on matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. You may now sign the oath. All right, thank you so much. Having signed the oath, now you have the originals of your documents. You give to the Secretariat for verification, and we now afford you not more than 10 minutes to introduce yourself and give us a brief background of your life and status as we speak today. So less than 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am Hassan Nur Hassan, born and brought up in Mandera County. Went to school, early primary and secondary in Mandera County. Went for my A levels to Kwale High School. After that, I joined University of Nairobi, and I had the honor to join the public service immediately after I left the University of Nairobi, and got recruited as a district officer. Became a DO in many parts of this country, became a DC in many parts of this country, became a provincial commissioner in Rift Valley, Nyanza, and Western. After that, I came back to Nairobi at the headquarters. I served in the ministries of local government, planning and devolution, in the Ministry of Water, as Deputy Secretary, as a Director Administration and Secretary Administration. After that, Mr. Chairman, I had the singular honor of overseeing the restoration of the Kenya Water Towers as the Chair of the Secretariat responsible for restoring the water towers. From there, I took an early retirement and joined and became in my private capacity. After that, I had also the honor to serve as a Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministries of Sports, Culture and Heritage, and also in the Ministry of Education, where I exited as my last station in public life.
Thank you. That was quite fast. Good. I think that captures it all. We will now open it up for members to ask questions. Start my... Yes, I'm told to start from my nearest right with the Honorable Zulekha.
Thank you, Chair. Hassanur Hassan comes from my county, that is Mandera County, but I'm not conflicted in any way. And I have only one question for him. Congratulations, Hassan, for a rich CV in terms of administration and governance. How, if you're confirmed for this position, how will you leverage your governance and public administration knowledge, experience, and expertise in your new role? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan. You are not going to answer that one. Take a pen and a piece of paper. Just the question is, how are you going to harmonize your rich experience in governance and administration with Iebc, which is on the elections? That's number one. So note all that we shall go to the end so that you answer all of them at one go. The next one is from Honorable Mushira, is the member for Ojoro Rock.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Nominee. I would wish to know what is this unique thing that you are going to bring to the Commission, that unique thing that you are going to bring to this Commission?
The Honorable Farah Maalim is a member for Dadaab in Garissa.
Well, Mr. Hassan, I have looked at your CV. It's very impressive, undoubtedly. I've seen all the awards you got on public administration, and I think we need people with a public administration background in this commission. My position is that you were there and did a fantastic job when we had the post-election violence in Rift Valley last time, and actually arrested quite a bit of that mayhem. We are increasingly getting other challenges as we progressively continue. And since then, except the election of almost every other subsequent elections, we had some kind of a violence. Given your background as a lawkeeper, as an officer, a law and order officer, how do you think you're going to, based on your own experience, make sure that we do not have a problem like what we had last time in terms of ethnic violence in the country or post-election violence? Thank you.
The next one is Honorable Dahoud Mohammed, member for Wajir East.
Thank you, Chair. I'll also say that I'm known to Hassanur Hassan, but I do not have any conflict of interest. My question, Mr. Hassan, is you are aware that there is a lot of petitions that have come to Parliament regarding your conduct, your person, and one of them is whether you are eligible to be a commissioner in the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. And the people who have written to us are citing Article 88 of the Constitution, specifically Article 88(2)(a) of the Constitution, and Article 88(2)(a)(2) of the Constitution. The first one is about whether you have stood up for election in the preceding 5 years. And the second one is whether you are a member of a governing body of a political party. I want you to tell us whether any of these bars to your nomination whether you have been a member of a governing body of a political party, or whether you stood for election in the past 5 years, and whether this article of the Constitution bars you from being a nominee. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, the next one is Honorable John Makali, Kandui constituency.
Thank you, Chair. I have looked at the CV of Noor Hassan, the candidate, and you have actually a stellar career in the provincial administration. And I'm looking also at our electoral history. And when Kenyans were promulgating the 2010 Constitution, Kenyans had a lot of issues with the provincial administration, specifically in manipulation of elections, such that they had indicated that it needs to be restructured. Some had even said it needs to be done away with altogether. Now, as you appear before us to seek this particular position, what new thing are you bringing into this particular commission, taking into account that Kenyans have sour grapes with provincial administration and the way it was used in the past to manipulate elections? Secondly, a complaint has also been raised, and you also aware, like my colleague has said, there are several petitions that have been filed, and the allegation has been that your name was not on the original list. It was sneaked in quotes. We will wish to know, to confirm that in the initial list that came up, you are not on that list, but in the amended list, did you have a hand in the compilation or in the creation of that second list? Because it's raising credibility issues and trust issues. Thank you.
The next one is Honorable Kareba Mushangi of Runyenjes.
Thank you, Chair. And let me start by introducing myself. My name is Mushangi Karemba, Member of Parliament for Runyenjes. And Honorable Chair, my concern is what has just been raised by Honorable Makali on the issue of his name having been brought later. And I would wish that he accounts for any relationship that he might be having with whoever in this country. Thank you, Chair.
Whoever is a little bit general, it's good you give the specifics so that he's able to answer. Otherwise, you say, I'm not related to whoever, which may be true, but is related to many other people. So who do you have in mind as his relative?
Honorable Chair, it is in the public domain and on social media that Mr. Noor is related to one Junet Mohammed. Can he substantiate of his relationship with Junet?
Thank you very much. I think he's noted that now he has a specific person and will be answering that. The next one is Honorable Otiende Amolo, Senior Counsel, the member for Arieda in Siaya County. Siaya or Mabi?
Siaya
County.
Siaya, of course. Mr. Hassan, you are not a poor man. Your net worth is stated as 502 million. I am interested to know so that maybe one day I might also be a rich man.
He's interested to know exactly how it came to 500. It is actually 600 and something. Then he seems to have liabilities in between and it comes to 500 million. The question is how, so that Otiende Amolo can borrow a leaf from you. Honorable Stephen Mogaka, West Mugirango, in Nyamira County.
Thank you. Thank you. Mine is an offshoot from, the first one is an offshoot from Senior Counsel Otiende Amolo. The nominee has served exclusively in public service. I want him to tell the country what is the highest remuneration he ever received from his assignment in the provincial administration, and how does that highest ever remuneration in the public service remuneration, how does it relate to the declared net worth? I have an accounting background and I'm not able to get a correlation with that. The second thing is to the nominee. The demographics of this country indicate that the young persons are the majority. Having served for the length of service the nominee has given this country, is it not time he gave way for this majority who are craving for opportunity to also serve? In other words, in his conscience, is it necessary that he takes up this position given that the demographics weigh heavily in favor of the young persons? And as an extension to that, how techno-savvy is the nominee to be able to deal with this section of the population of Kenya, which is light and fast and techno-savvy? And finally, I want to know when the nominee served in the Rift Valley, and if it was around the time we had serious issues, what was his role? And does that help in giving the IEBC we are constituting credibility, or it will erode its credibility? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Hassan, those are the questions for now. Please answer each of them precisely. Don't take too long to explain yourself. Some of them, one sentence will actually answer the entire question that was asked. Right? We give you a bit of time to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair, I want to respond to the first question. The first question relates to my CV, and it asks, what do I bring on board to IEBC? Mr. Chairman, as indicated in my CV, I have served this country, and I've served it in the breadth and width of this country. Mr. Chairman, I have served from the northern part, from Nadapal, all the way down. Nadapal is a border with South Sudan, all the way down to Trans Nzoia, to the Swam border, to the last settlement of Gituamba, down to Gotramogi in Bondo, all the way passing, having come through Kakamega and Western Kenya, where I served for 7 years as a DO and as a PC, all the way down to Kilgoris, to Gucha, down to Kilgoris, to the coast of Kenya, to Lamu at Kiunga, to all the way to border point 1 of Mandera. From there, along the border with the hills of Kiliwahiri, all the way to Turkana again, there is no place in this country I have not stepped. I bring an expansive geographical knowledge of this country that is second to none. That rich history, that rich knowledge of the geography of this country, the Siakago in Embu, Kiambu, and name anywhere in this country where I have not worked. I have literally stepped in every constituency of this country.
You've been to Marimanti?
Where?
Marimanti.
Marimanti.
You've been there?
I have been there. There's no place I have not stepped, Mr. Chairman, in this country, in my service.
Chair,
and
the nominee stepped in Nyamira because he has not served there.
Have you been to Nyamira?
Mr. Chairman,
because you didn't mention that one.
Mr. Chairman, as the PC in Nyanza, I oversaw Nyamira, and I was coordinating all the government business in Nyamira, and I visited Nyamira n number of times. Mr. Chairman, I have a lot of attachment to that part of the region. That's where I got promoted as a PC when I was as a DC Gucha. Therefore, I bring knowledge to the commission that is second to none, Mr. Chairman. The other issue I bring to the commission, Mr. Chairman, is the knowledge in running of an election. Throughout my career, as a DO, as a DC, and as a PC, I have provided backroom support for the electoral process of this country over the years, where backroom support is requirement for security updates, requirement for logistical support, mobilizing all government resources to ensure that elections are conducted in a free and fair manner. I'll go to the next the question about the issue of provincial administration. But Mr. Chairman, I am a security practitioner and a security expert. I am sure IEBC requires somebody who has a full knowledge of the management structure of the security system of this country to be able to run an election, a comprehensive election in this country. Therefore, I bring, as a practitioner of security, I have been trained in paramilitary in this country. I have supervised elections over the years. I have supervised security officers, managed security officers at different levels of this country, and therefore I believe I bring on board a very important skill to IEBC. Thirdly, Mr. Chairman, IEBC cannot operate in isolation. It's not an island. IEBC works with other government agencies. And I bring on board a skill and network of knowledge of coordinating government businesses across the country. And therefore, I can be able to relate to the people in the field. I can relate to the people in the National Police Service. I can relate to the politics of this country. And therefore, I understand how to manage the election process by bringing this coordinative role of government networks to IEBC. Mr. Chairman, the other issue I bring on board, election is basically a conflict field. It's a conflict arena. And as a conflict arena, you have to have somebody who is well-versed in conflict management. Throughout my working life as an administrator, I have managed conflict between communities. So, Chairman, I think in the years of 2007, 2008, 2006, I got posted to Rift Valley in 2006. And when I arrived there, the province was literally on fire. We had conflict between Pokots and Turkanas, Samburus and Turkanas. All the pastoral communities in the northern part of this country were at each other. Mr. Chairman, I managed to make sure that that process of conflict was reduced to the minimal. And we brought everything to a peaceful, we brought peace and sanity in the province. And therefore, as a conflict manager, I have no doubt that I will be an asset to IEBC.
Now, tie that with provincial administration. Discredited for bungling elections. Bearing in mind, I think in 1988, you were DO, and we know exactly what you did even if we were in school then. We know exactly what happened in 1988 because it's purely provincial administration that handled those elections, and we know what the results were. So how do you marry that experience, which is negative, with what you've given us, which is very positive?
Tie that also with the 2007 situation in Rift Valley, because he was right there. Was he part of the problem or part of the solution?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, provincial administration has had a history in this country, bad or good. It is a historical process in this country. And any institution and any organization is as good as the leadership and the political system of the time. It was never working in isolation. Provincial administration was not the people running election. Provincial administration was just an arm of government. Therefore, there was an election management body that was working on. It only provided support. It depended on how the system required it to provide the support at that time. I was a very young officer in...
Chair, I want to get this clearly. I want to because you asked about the provincial administration. But you will agree there were some things that were done by the provincial administration that gave the elections that were conducted at that particular really a very bad name.
Mr. Chairman,
he has said actually that it depends on how he was told to do it.
Mr. Chairman.
So let's hear a little bit more of that.
Mr. Chairman, definitely every organization has its own excesses, and excesses can happen. I was a very young officer. I was barely 2 years old in service. I was inconsequential. as far as the 1988 election is concerned. And from there we moved on to the 1992 multi-party democracy. Things changed. And therefore, there is definitely excesses. Every organization has its own dark history. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. There may have been excesses, but I was too young to make any difference at that time. And therefore, in 2007, Mr. Chairman, I was the Provincial Commissioner for Rift Valley. And when I arrived there, I told you there has been a lot of conflict within the region. In Molo, in Turkana, in Samburu, in all over across, in Trans Nzoia, everywhere there are conflicts. And we managed to bring the conflict down before the elections. Of course, elections happened and there was violence. Mr. Chairman, our work is very evident. During the run-up to the election is the time I was awarded the Best Public Officer of the Year. In 2007, I got the Kenya National Human Rights Commission Award as the Best Public Servant of the Year in the way we managed conflict in the province at that time. And therefore, politics being what it is, there was violence, there was an eruption. Of course, before violence erupts, political violence erupts, there are warnings. There are many things that happen. There have been incitement, there are inflammatory statements by leaders. So it happened. So our effort is well said in the reports that were released and in the statement that was made by Kofi Annan in Serena when he arrived after the tour of Rift Valley province. He said if there is one committee that has served this country at the height of the post-election violence and will require to be recognized is a committee led by the Provincial Commissioner for Rift Valley. Those statements are clear in the media. They are available, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
I was a solution. I want to say here that I was a solution. I provided the solution required to make sure that we minimized the loss of lives and property during the post-election violence. Mr. Chairman, suffice to add, after the election, after the post-election violence, I coined Operation Rudi Nyumbani. That was I coined that. Operation Rudi Nyumbani was my statement, my slogan, and returned people back to their farms. Within 90 days, we were able to return over 70% of the population back to their farms in a situation where conflict was really at its highest. Therefore, I believe, Mheshimiwa, I was a solution in the 2007-2008 post-election violence.
All right.
Very bad things have been said about anybody who has tried to remind people about what happened in 2007. The nominee appears to be part of the face of 2007. And I'm still asking him what his conscience is. Does he still, whether he did well or not, does he want to be part of the reminder of the 2007 situation, or he would rather recuse himself so that people don't stretch their minds back there? Thank you.
Answer that, then I will guide you on how to answer the rest of it.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I believe I can provide a solution. Having had a first-hand experience on what happened during that time, I can be able to navigate the process and help Iebc not to repeat what has happened in 2007.
Thank you very much. By saying, asking Iebc not to repeat what took place that time, but we don't want you to navigate anything similar to what took place. In fact, it should not happen at all. Thank you. Let's move on with the answers. How many have you answered now? We all became quite interested in what was happening in 2007. What, Mushira, yours is answered? Mufara, yours is answered? Dawood? What is yours? All right. Next, Makali. Makali, yours is answered. What is yours? What was yours? Or suitability. Yes, yours, just move on, sir. You don't have to look for it. I will remind you because I remember the questions. Article 882. 2.
Mr. Chairman,
which prohibits you on 2 grounds. Confirm whether you've been a member of a political party and especially of its governing authority. Number 2, you have run for elections before and you disqualified.
Mr. Chairman, I want to say I've never been a member of governing body of a political party. It's true I ran for elections. And Article 88(2)(a) speaks to the fact that you have to run for county assembly, national assembly. That's what it states. It doesn't talk about the executive governor's position or the presidency. That is my understanding and my reading, and that's on the basis of that I applied for this position.
Do you want to comment further slightly to say what is the rationale behind that reasoning? You are prohibited when you are a member of a county assembly or member of parliament. Parliament means National Assembly and Senate. Then the rest is silent. Do you know the rationale behind it?
Mr. Chairman, I truly don't know about it.
Thank you very much. We shall not take you further than that. Makali's question is on?
Provisional administration, the addendum is sneaking in. Yes.
It's alleged that you were not on the first list.
Yes.
But our second list resurfaced with a few explanations and what have you.
Thank you.
You found yourself in the second list. What was your hand in that? What did you do?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'm a Kenyan. I'm a Kenyan and I qualify to apply for this position. And I did apply for this position. And I was on the 1,800 names that were put on the newspapers of the list. And I applied. My name was on the list of the 1,800. And there it is. All I see again is there's a list that has come out and there's an addendum that's come out. Mr. Chairman, I don't want to speak on behalf of or for the panel that did its work. It did its work, and I was shortlisted and interviewed like anybody else for this position. Mr. Chairman, as far as my understanding is concerned, an addendum it happens. If you have a tender process, for example, and the tender process requires you to fulfill certain conditions. Somewhere along the way, the tender process can also be amended. Say there are new items that have been added or some new regulation, but it has to be put to the public. It's not something hidden under the table. Mr. Chairman, I have absolutely no hand in my name being on the list. I find myself on the list, and it's not only me. I'm along with other Kenyans, and we were all interviewed. Mr. Chairman, I want to leave it at that.
All right.
Before just for the sake of the consumers of IEBC, does he understand that his later inclusion appears to be an afterthought? I don't know by who. That is the worry with the Kenyans seeing him coming in the manner he came into the list. What does he have to say to that, to inspire Kenyans?
Do you think your inclusion was actually an afterthought by the selection panel or by other hands, or did you have any role to play in that?
Chairman, I had no role to play, and I believe that my inclusion is a role that the panel has found it necessary to do, and therefore I found myself on the list, and I was glad. I asked for it. I applied for this position, and therefore when I found my name and I was included, I presented myself for the interview, and I want Kenyans to believe that, Mr. Chairman.
Right, Honorable Karemba, yours on.
I had asked a very specific question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the specific question?
He's coming to you.
Okay.
Yes. What did
you ask that question? But he said, you can look into that camera and say you had no role at all in creating the addendum.
Mr. Chairman, I have no role. If I have a role of making myself to be a commissioner, surely, then I need not to have applied. I mean, I have no role, Mr. Chairman. Absolutely.
Right, that is answered. Karemba, that is answered. Honorable Tindamolo, what was the question?
Chair, my question has not been answered.
So, Chairman,
you wrote on Makali's question.
No, I asked about a very specific issue.
Which one?
Relationship with
yes.
Whoever.
All right. Not whoever. Not whoever.
Yeah, a point of order. Chair,
what is the point of order?
The committee is bound by the rules of the House. You cannot discuss the conduct of a member of Parliament without a substantive motion on that. And in any case, it's speculation. All of us are members of parliament. The members of parliament who come from his own constituency who are his relatives. They are members, he has friends everywhere. Picking on Junet is, in my opinion, not acceptable unless there is a substantive motion on that to discuss.
There is going to be no discussion whatsoever on Junet at all.
Yeah.
But he's going to answer the allegations that have been brought in affidavits that he is actually Junet Mohammed's relative. That he has to answer, so that the members of public over there, when they see Commissioner Hassan Nur Hassan, yes, that is the cousin to Junet Mohammed. No, his brother-in-law. No, he's the other one, and we know it. All right, it's good to know. So, please answer Honorable Karemba's question. Are you related to Honorable Junet Mohammed?
Mr. Chairman, I am related to Honorable Junet Mohammed. I am his brother-in-law. Mr. Chairman, as his brother-in-law, I existed long before Junet was born. But I am Junet's brother-in-law. Completely different.
All right. I think that is answered, Karemba.
Yeah, Chair, I don't have another question.
Yes.
That is exactly what I wanted.
That's the answer that has been given to the Republic of Kenya, and it's information. There is nothing wrong with being a brother-in-law to somebody, brother, cousin, whichever. But when you are discharging your duty, if this commission approves you, we will always bear that in mind, so that if there is any appearance of bias, it's worse than bias itself. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Honorable Otiende Amolo. Remind us your question, sir. Yours was answered.
He remembers.
He remembers. All right, answer that one if you remember.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Honorable Otiende Amolo asked about about my assets, my worth rather, my net worth. Mr. Chairman, yes. I have indicated my net worth. It's both movable and immovable assets. And I will answer that along with Honorable Mogaka's question that talked about my remuneration, the highest I have received and all that. Mr. Chairman, we all work and we earn salaries and we earn whatever we earn from the offices that we work for. Mr. Chairman, life is not just about just about salaries. The world has opportunities. Mr. Chairman, my assets are funded by banks. The liabilities I've indicated on that paper is just part of the process of what I have been paying over a period of years. And therefore my assets can be accounted for. They are houses. I have houses and 1 or 2 vehicles, cars, small cars. And therefore it is an accumulation of nearly 40 years of struggle of life, Mr. Chairman. I want it to be understood in that manner. It has nothing to do with integrity issues as far as I'm concerned. And therefore, that is my answer to that question.
In other words, you're telling Honorable Otiende Amolo to clock 40 years of service, reach that age bracket, then look back, compare himself with Hassan Nur Hassan, and then he'll be able to get the answer. Mogaka's is answered.
No, it isn't.
Let's hear Mogaka's. Which one is not answered, Mogaka? Hold on shortly.
I asked 3 questions. One was an offshoot from Honorable Otiende Amolo, and it has not been answered. What was the highest remuneration the nominee ever drew?
CAS.
How does that relate with the declared net worth?
Yes, although declared net worth has been answered in terms of the source. But let's hear about the highest net worth.
Chairman, the highest remuneration is CAS. It's within the range of 700,000 shillings.
Right, 700,000. That's for the time that we
There were two other questions about...
Yes, what are the other two questions?
The demographics, is he not too old to serve? Because answer says there was a time he was too young to make a difference. Is he now not too old?
Yes, are you told to make a difference? That's the next arm of the whatever.
Mr. Chairman, I believe, given my wealth of experience, I am of right age to help the Iebc.
Thank you very much. That's a conviction.
Mr. Chairman, I also want to add that the composition of the current selection of the commissioners who have been nominated has a very young person amongst them to guide us as and when we go off track as far as age issues are concerned. But I believe I am of right age to help.
When they go off track, they will come to you, they will look upon you, and you shall be able to bring them back to track.
Isn't cheating that you already have a chair?
No.
Person.
He's just said if we do it. Circumstances, what you are dealing with today. Honorable Mogaka, the third one was what?
The third one was what was his role in the disturbances in Rift Valley?
I think that is answered. That one is answered.
So,
Honorable Farah, without making a long statement or defense, can you kindly do your point of order?
I just want to bring to the attention of my own colleagues here. I bought a plot in Slee in 1994 for 1 million shillings. I'm having an offer of 150 million shillings now for that. So sometimes when you look at the amount that's what somebody has now and the net value many years back, the difference is formidable. It's too big. So sometimes, even as a civil servant, if you made proper investments and wise investments, in today's market, it translates into something that many people would think.
Right. We've had the Honorable Farah. Yes, Honorable Farah, that's good enough.
Farah,
Senior Counsel.
I asked the question and I was satisfied.
Why is Honorable Farah answering?
I'm just trying to tell Akina Mogaka to invest now wisely.
I'm wondering why Honorable Farah is explaining especially that he bought a plot in Isli.
Right, Honorable Farah, that is enough.
Chair, at least the plot is in Isli and not in Nyamira, because it would not be 500 million.
Now,
Save now. If you want.
let's hear from Nur.
Chair, before you call him to respond, I have a letter here from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. It says the Commission investigated allocations of procurement regarding the National Youth Service, where Nur Hassan, and others were charged in court. Is that true? And if so, what were the results of those the charges?
Read the whole letter.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I just want to get it from him.
No, let's hear from him. Don't answer for him, please. Let him answer. Investigations of the NYS haste.
Chairman, it's true investigations were done. People were taken to court. I was amongst them. And we were acquitted for lack of evidence.
Thank you. That answers the first question of whether you have been convicted of any criminal offense in your lifetime. What is your answer?
Not really. I was not convicted, Mr. Chairman. I was not convicted.
Point of order, Chair.
Honorable Farah is out of order. He's already briefed.
Point of order, Chair. There is a person, I think it is Honorable Farah, who is answering questions for the nominee.
The Farah is out of order. Is he the one making you? Honorable Dawood, please don't incite other members against Honorable Farah, because that induces him to answer questions for the person who is being vetted, and that is not very fair. So, Honorable Dawood, don't make Honorable Farah answer questions.
And Chair, on the same note, on the same note, I would like to know when he was acquitted. When were you acquitted?
When were you acquitted of the charges?
2018.
2018. Right.
When was he charged? Because we need to relate those time. When was the plea taken and when was the acquittal?
I think, to be frank and honest, if there was an acquittal, then I don't think the rest of it is relevant. Yeah. If there was an acquittal, all those, it's nullification of what had taken place. So without delving into that, he confirms he's not been convicted of any criminal offense in the past. Have you been cited as having breached Chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity and ethics at any one time?
No.
He answers no. Conflict of interest. You are going to Iebc, and there may be people in there who are your relatives or you have interest, you've done business with Iebc before. Do you have any conflict of interest with Iebc?
None. No relatives, no business with Iebc.
What would happen if a conflict arises in future?
Of course, I will declare, but I will not have anything to do with Iebc and its matters.
You will declare the conflict because that's what you're required to do.
Declare the conflict.
Right. Do you do any pro bono works? Pro bono means free to help the community in various ways. And where do you do that?
Mr. Chairman, we are involved in too many community activities of charity. Orphanages, helping the sick. We do that. It's all over. In Nairobi, in Baka.
Where do you do that? In which parts of the Republic?
In Mandera County.
Mandera County? Yeah. All right.
Is it we or you?
It is you, and maybe you could do with many other people. But you say I do with other people so that we know whom we are vetting. So as we conclude this, what is your plea to this committee, or what are your last words to this committee?
Mr. Chairman, my last word to the committee is to thank them sincerely for bravely putting questions that to me. Mr. Chairman, I believe that I bring on board what is required to navigate the electoral process of this country in the most peaceful manner. Having served and worked through whatever we have gone through the elections of this country, I think I can be able to provide the required support. Mr. Chairman, I want the committee to have faith in me, to have faith in my resolve. I can be able to stand firmly and say no when no is the answer. I will not be persuaded by anything against the law, and I promise that I will be able to do the best, to the best of my knowledge, and make sure that I put the country first in all my endeavor to run the electoral process if given the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Noor. That concludes our discussion. We won't give you our decision now, and in fact, our decision is purely intermittent in between because we have to take it to the House. You'll be hearing from the House of Parliament, the National Assembly, as regards the decision with everything you've given to us. We will consider and we'll make a recommendation. Then the House will make a decision. Otherwise, thank you so much for the engagement this afternoon. You are discharged. Please return to him his original documents. And Sanjit Tams, you may usher him out. And if there is coffee, offer him a cup.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You may take your seat kindly. Where is his name? Where is his name? All right. In front of us is Mr. Francis Othiambo Aduol, famously known as Professor. And for that, we have to call you Professor to acknowledge your great academic achievement over the many years. Welcome. This is the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. These are the members you see seated here, over here, doing the vetting, which is a very important exercise, especially as it relates to IEBC. So we will have you for maximum of an hour or so that we know whether really the way you were appointed is due in law and the Constitution, and whether yourself you're suitable to sit as a commissioner in IEBC. So